Good morning. Today is Monday, November 21st, 2011. You're listening to WCRXLP Columbus, Ohio, 102.1 FM, the broadcast radio service of the Bexley Public Radio Foundation. You may visit our website at www.wcrxlp.com. And for those of you who have lost a memory, guess what's coming up this weekend? Thursday is Thanksgiving, and of course you know about Friday and Saturday, but everyone's anticipating Thursday, the good food, family, and fun. Our inspirational for today is, if you sow kindness, you will reap a crop of friends. A little bit of our Toastmaster history. Toastmasters started 87 years ago in October of 1924. In 1981, there were 90,000 members. And of course, now there are over 270,000 members with 6 new countries: Angola, Aruba, Mongolia, Rwanda, Slovenia, and Vietnam. How about that? Now we're going to hear from T. Wayne. Good morning.
Good morning, Julia. How are you?
Great. How are you?
I'm real good, real good. Had a real busy weekend and feeling real good about that. And looking forward to hearing from Paul this morning. We've got a special guest here from our Toastmasters Club, and we'll be introducing him shortly. What I always like to do is just kind of talk about the purpose of our program here. First of all, we like to give our local Toastmasters speakers a chance to improve their speaking skills and to learn something about broadcasting. That's a big goal of the radio station also. And to introduce the world of Toastmasters to the community. For those of you that's been with us for the last 2 weeks, the past 2 weeks, you know that we've been, our table topic, or TableTalk tip, has been speech structure. And there's 2 parts to the speech. There's the opening, the body, and the close. And the last 2 weeks we shared with you the open and the body. Today we're going to talk about the close. And in the close of a speech, you want to summarize and close the information that you're giving. And what we talked about in the opening was, you tell them what you're going to tell them. You tell them in the body, and then the close, you tell them what you told them. So I'm going to give you a few tips here. What makes up a successful speech conclusion is you want to achieve closure, summarize your main points, make an impact, and it should only take up 5 to 10% of your speech. As far as your closing techniques, some different things you can do. You can use a quote, tell a story, a call to action, ask a rhetorical question, refer to the beginning, and repeat the main points. And just the parting tips to take away with you, you want to talk about, you want to write out your closing and then memorize it. You want to end on time, and you don't want to add new points. They tell you to memorize this and stick to it, because sometimes you have it all figured out and something hits you part way through the speech, and you want to change it up, and many times it'll cause you a problem. So just go ahead and stick with your plan, and you'll find that things will work out much better that way. So with that concludes our table talk tip for this week. And I want to start out here with my guest here, is Mr. Paul Wills. Anyway, last week we learned that according to a survey by the Wall Street Journal, one of the major fears that most people have is public speaking. This morning we're going to look at one of the nation's best sports, and that's baseball. Our guest this morning, he's a huge baseball fan, and I actually started working with this gentleman a few years ago in Toastmasters, probably about 3 years ago, and he was talkative, but not like he is now, and really he doesn't get as energized on a normal basis until he starts talking about baseball, and you find that this guy just lights up, and we all get excited about it because he's one heck of a guy. Anyway, this guy, his name is Paul Wills. He's a CPA and a finance manager for Excel Logistics. and he's the president of our Toastmasters Whitehall Club. He's a member of the local Knights of Columbus Council, and serves on the advisory panel for the Stewardship Foundation. He has been married about 20 years, and he has, listen to this, folks, 5 daughters. Paul has 5 daughters. And he handles that very well. I have 2 daughters myself. Actually, I had 3 if I had the one that I actually helped raise too. But 5 daughters, I know Paul's got quite a challenge, and he handles it very well. And as he's got here, he said there's no shortage of drama around his household. And his favorite sport is baseball. His favorite sport is baseball. Once again, you'll hear it when Paul comes on. He lights up when he talks about baseball. So what Paul's going to do next, is he's going to give you his toast, I repeat, toastamonial. And then we're going to have a session with Paul and Julia. She's going to do a little Q&A with him on the sport that he loves so much. Paul Wills, you're on.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Paul.
Thank you, T. Wayne and Julia, for having me on today.
You're welcome.
I've been involved with Toastmasters for about 3 years now, as T. Wayne has said. And my mom actually was the first person to tell me about it. You know, mothers know best, and I think she saw something that I needed. So I heeded her advice, and also my boss at work encouraged me to join as well. And I really joined primarily to improve my public speaking skills. And I wanted to stop being a lepidopterist. That's a mouthful. Do you know what that is, Julia?
Yeah, what is that?
Well,
Anyway.
it sounds like something very colorful.
Well, it's a butterfly collector.
Okay.
I was collecting them in my stomach far too often, figuratively speaking, of course. But I needed to do something about it. So I joined Toastmasters. And now 3 years later, here I am as president of our club. I'm having a lot of fun and gaining valuable leadership experience at the same time. I like to tell others about my Toastmasters experience using 3 words: inspiration, motivation, and perspiration.
Perspiration? What do you mean by that?
What I mean by that, Julia, is anything worth its salt is going to take effort and a little sweat equity, as they say. One of my favorite motivational speakers is Matthew Kelly, who coined the phrase, "Become the best version of yourself." I like that because he's saying, in effect, don't try to change who you are, just improve yourself with the gifts you've been blessed with. So that's really why I'm in Toastmasters, to do just that.
Well, thanks, Paul. Now we're going to get to the meat of this program. The topic for today, baseball fandom. Paul, we know you are a great fan of the sport, so why don't you just tell us, just like to watch a typical baseball game? Why?
I am a big baseball fan, Julia. And I hear so many people say baseball is a boring sport to watch. Well, I say they don't know fine art when they see it. I'm kidding, of course. But there's so much to the game that I really enjoy. Like seeing a pitcher throw that little round ball 100 miles an hour. Wow, that's amazing. Then as fast as that ball comes in, you've got a hitter turning that fastball around and sending it 400 feet into the stands. How about watching a shortstop make a diving stop of a ground ball? Or an outfielder making a leaping catch to rob a home run? Then there's the double play, or on rare occasions, a triple play. And on very rare occasions, a player will hit for the cycle.
What does that mean? Hitting for the cycle?
That's when one player hits a single, double, triple, and home run all in one game. There are lots of games where players come close to doing it, but come up just a bit short. But it's exciting every time to see a player trying to get it.
Any other aspects of the game that you really enjoy?
Well, from an entertainment standpoint, what other sport has bloopers like baseball? You know, I remember when a fly ball to the outfield hit Jose Canseco in the head and bounced over the fence for a home run. He was trying to catch it for an out. And he gives them a home run. I think that's where the phrase, Jose, can you see, came from. Then there's the emotional side. When you are sitting on the edge of your seat as the World Series is down to the last out, and a mixture of anxiety and anticipation fills you, as your team needs a small miracle to win the game. Case in point, we witnessed a fantastic World Series just last month. And by all rights, my Texas Rangers had the series won. And those pesky Cardinals just wouldn't die, wouldn't give up. On 2 separate occasions, they were down to their last out, just 1 strike away from losing. Think about the emotions of the teams at that moment. The Rangers were moments away from running onto the field and celebrating, and the Cardinals cling to an unlikely hope. But timing is everything in baseball. You've got to hand it to the Cards. They got the hits when they absolutely had to have them. And now they're world champs. It was truly an epic Game 6 in that series. And it's those moments that make baseball America's favorite pastime. Has been since the 1800s. You know that old saying, Julia? Baseball is as American as hot dogs and apple pie. And kids love baseball the way they love those things too.
Paul, do you have any experiences as a youth that our listeners might like to hear? Since you're such a... When did you start? What age was it baseball?
Well, I started in itty bitty league. I was probably in second grade.
The what?
The itty bitty league?
That's what they call
That's
it.
the actual name.
Yes.
Itty
bitty league.
Itty bitty
Okay.
league. Okay.
First, second grade, somewhere in there, way back. And that's going way back. But two in particular memories come to mind. This is not when I was playing, but it's an experience I'll never forget. Years ago, when I was 16, my older sister and her husband, Jamie, invited me to spend a summer with them. Jamie was a trainer in the minor league system for the Baltimore Orioles, and I went to work as a clubby for the team. The clubby's job was to do all the housekeeping around the baseball team's locker room. That included washing the players' uniforms every night after the games. And man, I remember one player read me the riot act when his uniform was not as clean as he wanted it. I really wanted to throw the pants back in his face, but he was much bigger than I, so I just got the bleach out the next night and tried to keep him happy. And during the games, I suited up, uniform and all, as a bat boy. Indeed, it was a summer to remember. Something special happened one day during the season that made the professional record books. One particular night, the game was suspended due to rain, so they decided to make it up the next day. Trouble was, a doubleheader was already scheduled. And for those who don't know, a doubleheader is when you play two games back-to-back on the same day.
Okay.
Well, now we had to finish the first and play two more. So we did. And wouldn't you know, those Hagerstown Suns won all three games. Well, after the game, we were told that had never been done at the professional baseball level. So all the players, coaches, and yes, even us bat boys, got to sign a game program. And it was sent to the Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown to be proudly displayed.
Wow.
So although I never played a professional game and didn't do anything special myself that night, I can honestly say that I am in the Baseball Hall of Fame. Can you believe that?
Wow.
It's so cool.
That is cool. That's amazing, Paul. What a great story. Did you have another one you wanted to tell us about, perhaps?
Yeah, this one is when I was playing, and this was in the Pony League, which was about 14, 15 years old.
Now that's something I'm
Pony
familiar
League.
with, the Pony League.
Mhm.
Okay, I've heard that before.
Yeah, and that was, you're at an age where you understand the game better, and you know, I think it's a great age. It's one step up from Little League, and I just had a blast. And we played our games at the historic Naval Academy. Imagine that. No question, we had the best ballpark in the league, but on the field was a little bit different story. We joked about being the Bad News Bears, although I think we weren't quite that bad. I think we won just a couple games, and after the regular season, our coach enrolled us in a tournament. Well, something magic happened, and we won our first tournament game. I think we surprised ourselves, quite frankly, and it got us charged for the next game, which would be our first game all season under the lights. Like I said, we were charged up, and we jumped ahead early in that next game, and the hits and runs just kept coming. Then came our moment, my moment. So let me set the stage.
Please do.
It was my turn at the bat again. The bases were loaded.
Ooh.
The pressure was on.
Oh.
Now, I was a switch hitter, which meant I could bat either right or left-handed. I decided to bat lefty this time, which I had taught myself because I'm a natural righty. And there's a skill involved in that, in a strategy that you see at the major league level for sure. At this age, not as big a deal, but nonetheless, I was trying to think big. All I know is I got a good pitch to hit, and I unloaded. It was a line drive into the right center gap, and I just turned on the engines and started motoring around those bases. My little legs were chugging along, and all I could zone in on was listening to the coach say, "Go, go, go." I made it to third with a triple, and then scurried home on a throwing error on the same play. So while technically it wasn't a grand slam, it was my grand slam, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
At one point we were winning by something like 13 runs and feeling pretty darn good about this game. But kind of like those pesky Cardinals in the World Series a month ago, the team we were playing kept battling. We couldn't slam the door. It pains me to say this, but we lost that game in the final inning.
Oh.
Talk about a kid's heartbreak. As you can tell, I still haven't gotten over that one. But life goes on, and I suppose I'm better for it.
That must have been hard to take as a young person. I'm sure it would have been for me as well. You've mentioned the World Series a few times. Have you ever been to a World Series game, Paul?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I went to my first ever World Series game just a year ago, down in Texas, to see my beloved Rangers play the San Francisco Giants. It was the Rangers' first time in franchise history they'd gotten to the series. So I had to go, no question about it. And they played 3 games in Texas, and I went to all 3. Unfortunately, the Rangers lost the series in Game 5, the last game in Texas. And there I had to sit in the stands and watch the Giants run out in the field and celebrate. It was a strange feeling, but I don't regret going one bit. It was a great experience I'll never forget, and I got to meet some of the players too.
Ooh, did you get any autographs?
I did, and by the way, my brother-in-law, who was the trainer for that minor league team I worked for, is now the head trainer for, you guessed it, the Texas Rangers.
Wow.
But just for the record, I was a fan of theirs long before he was hired on.
Do you have a favorite baseball movie, Paul?
Well, Jamie is in a baseball movie called The Rookie. You may be familiar with it. It's a Disney movie.
That's my favorite.
Is it?
That's my favorite movie. Dennis Quaid, right?
Yes, Dennis Quaid. It was a very inspiring story of the pitcher for the Tampa Bay Devil Rays who he had gotten hurt, really a career-ending injury and by all matters, but the Rays gave him another chance. And I like it because it is very inspiring, and I like Dennis Quaid as an actor. But I will say there are a lot of baseball movies that I still haven't seen yet, and I still plan to watch them. I emphasize I haven't seen them yet.
I bet you do. Do your kids like to go to baseball games, or what about your wife? Does she like to go?
Well, my kids, if I bribe them with candy, they may come along, but wife not so much. Maybe if there's a gathering of ladies there, she might come along with friends, but my kids did watch the World Series with me this year, and that was a breakthrough. But I think it was just to see their uncle on TV. Really.
Exactly. Tell us a little about the history of your Toastmasters club. They're having their 50th anniversary coming up. I have made mention of that on a couple of our programs, and I did say that further information would be coming, so let us have it.
Well, that's right, Julia. It's a historic year for the Columbus Whitehall Club, and I'm excited and humbled to be a part of it. The club was chartered in December of 1961 and was originally the Knights of Marion Toastmaster Club. It was founded by the Knights of Columbus Marion Council on the east side of Columbus. And at first it was only open to members of the Knights, but soon open to everyone. And then years later, after having combined with another club, the name was changed to its current Columbus Whitehall Toastmasters. Mm-hmm. And over the years, several other clubs have spun off ours as well. We have just a tremendous group of individuals that are part of that club and all the clubs in the area. And I'm just so excited to be a part of it. And the 50th anniversary, I mean, that's just incredible. And so we're definitely going to celebrate this in a big way.
Okay, is there anything you can let us in on right now? Or do we have to wait a little longer?
Well, we will be having an open house. Still working on the scheduling of that, but hopefully sometime in January. And we'll get the word out. We have more details.
Okay, and I will also be giving further information as we get it and as we can let you know, because it's going to be really big. T-Wayne.
It's a really big show.
Yeah,
really big.
Really big show.
Paul, I got a few questions for you.
Yeah.
first of all, why do you like baseball? Why do you love baseball so much? I mean, you're really passionate about
He's
it.
past alike.
Yes.
It's just the sport I was drawn to as a kid. I guess I enjoyed playing it. I mean, I played, we played sandlot, football, basketball, baseball, but
Right.
there's just something about baseball. It's a warm weather sport.
Right.
Love the warm weather.
Okay.
And, I think getting out there and something about the bat and the ball, just swinging that bat, hitting the ball, hit a solid, connecting solidly
Right.
with that ball, and then just the skill involved in catching, making diving catches or stealing bases. I mean, there's so many things to a game, little things that if you really study it, you appreciate. I mean, just watching a game and you think of, well, it's a 3-hour long game and it's kind of goes slow. I mean, because there's not a clock. It's just the pace of the players and the action. But you look past that. I mean, in reality, a football game is also 3 hours on TV. There's just maybe more fast-paced action along the way. But like I said, baseball is a fine art, and so you just have to appreciate underneath the surface.
Well, that's also hitting that ball. That's a good way to take out their frustrations too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I come from a big family. My mother had 11 brothers and sisters, including her. But that was the game that they played a lot when I was a little boy. We played a lot of baseball. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I liked it. Or softball. I know when we had picnics and things, we'd get together and do that. But I don't know. I just never got a chance to play it past that. I enjoyed, or even watching. I probably enjoyed playing it more than I did watching it. The other thing I want to ask you is, how far did you go with it, as far as playing in the different, little league and what do you say, the teeny? What was that first?
Itty bitty league.
The itty bitty league, the pony league.
And then I did go one more year in the Babe Ruth League.
Okay. Did you ever dream of playing pro baseball?
Oh,
ever?
Sure. Oh, sure. I did. I have one regret. I did have an opportunity to play in college, and we had a club team. wasn't a NCAA, but it was a club team, and I just ended up not with other things going on and having to focus more on studies. But I wish I had. I could have made it happen, but sure, I had those dreams but I mean, frankly, didn't put in the time to practice. And I always think, well, what if I did? Mm-hmm. Because this season I mentioned in Pony League, I had a pretty good season. I was the leadoff hitter. I kept my own stats. I mean, that's how I love. I had little index cards I carried around with me during the game, and if I got hit, marked it down. I got a walk, but just wasn't meant to be.
You could have become a great, well-known baseball player, Paul.
Well, baseball's in our family. I've got my brother-in-law that's got a connection with major leagues, and now that they've been in the World Series 2 straight years, it's been phenomenal.
One of the things that made me ask that question, because I see how passionate you are, and you're built for baseball. Just the, your stature and everything. I could have seen you being really good at it, especially with that passion. Because see, what a lot of people don't realize, I guess with anything, it doesn't always, the person with the talent doesn't always get it. With the top talent, we all know that now that we're adults. It's just that person that's got that burning desire. So I just want to ask that question. I kind of figured you had tried to go as far as you could with it. Okay. Well, anyway, I get fired up when you start talking about baseball, just because of the way you get real animated and get real energetic. So anyway, Julia.
Yeah. It's time now for Did You Know on the Toastmasters Community Table Talk program. In 1950, Charles Schulz's comic strip Peanuts debuted in 7 newspapers. How about that? In 1971, Walt Disney's second theme park, Disney World, opened in Orlando, Florida. T. Wayne, you have closing remarks for us?
Wow, that's one of my favorite people, Walt Disney. You ever been there?
No, I have not.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been there twice. I actually went through a training program there. The Disney Academy of Training, just phenomenal. If you ever get a chance to just see that in action, it'll get you fired up. I just wanted to share something with the everyone today, but specifically when I'm thinking about Paul too, because again, we all evaluate each other in our Toastmaster meetings and as we give speeches. And I learned something from Tony Robbins. And Tony Robbins talks about when you're giving speeches, especially when you're doing something where you really want to get yourself really, fired up and get your mind where you want it. He talks about taking yourself back to a certain state or a particular thing that you really enjoy before you get ready to do it. It brings all that energy and all those things to you when you get ready to deliver your presentation. So I just wanted to share that today because I know I've looked back at some different times when I had some success and pull those things together, and it works. And then when you watch Tony Robbins, you can see him. He's a master at it. You can see him taking himself in and out of certain states of mind and things. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with the group today. And again, thanks again for coming out and sharing the baseball stories. And we'll see you at the club meeting. I think it was tomorrow night.
Yes.
Okay.
Tomorrow night.
At
All right.
7:30.
At 7:30.
Thanks, Bob.
Again, thank you for having me on. I
You are
appreciate it. I
welcome.
enjoyed it.
Good to have you here to talk about your love of baseball. Well, everyone, look forward to Thursday. I'm sure you do. Do not eat too much, but enjoy yourselves. And you've been listening to the Community Table Topic of the Toastmasters. WCRX LP, Columbus, Ohio, 102.1 FM. The broadcast radio service of the Bexley Public Radio Foundation. Be sure to visit our website at www.wcrxlp.com. See you next week.